Hi, guys. Once again, we are coming back to you with our brand new podcast,
Podcast episode 2.
episode 2 of Ready to Sell.
Yes.
Welcome.
I'm Jim,
And I'm Tracy,
and we are the Nelsons.
the Nelsons.
So if you want to know a really easy website to remember, think of callthenelsons.com. And if you go there, tell us what happens.
Callthenelsons.com. Is that with an E-N or
It's a really good question.
O-N, Jim?
Nelson. Nelson, the most
N-E-L-S-O-N.
boring way you can possibly spell it.
Call
And that's the thing about the Nelsons. Like, I always thought that was a little confessional here. I always thought that was like the most boring name. But
Right.
now going into real estate, it's very handy because it's really easy to remember,
It
right?
is
Call the
really
Nelsons. How hard
easy
is
to
that?
remember.
Callthenelsons.com.
Right.
If you say it enough times, people will memorize it. Callthenelsons.com.
You know, just a funny little fact. It is true that when we were engaged, we did think about changing our last name
did.
when we got married.
So your maiden name is,
Brand.
and my name is, of course. And so we were going to
So,
become, anybody want to guess? Give you a couple seconds. Yes, you are right. Someone out there. We're
Brandson.
going to be the Branson.
I liked it.
I did too, but we
It was-
didn't do it. And now it'd be just confusing to everybody,
We always have
especially our kids.
really fun ideas, that's for sure.
So a couple things we want to talk about today. Tracy has 7
Deadly staging,
sins.
selling your home sins, actually.
Staging, selling sins. I like it.
Staging, selling sins.
I like it. 3 S's. And then we also want to talk about one of the local businesses we've been to that we explored, and they are open on Sunday. It's going to be our thing maybe for a little while.
Mhm.
I will talk about them. And then what else are we going to talk about?
And then we are going to talk about
Having friends in high
that's
places.
right.
So it'll be interesting because, being a
As opposed to low places,
Yeah,
right?
you got it right. Garth Brooks song. But yeah, it's interesting some of the things you don't see behind the scenes of realtors, especially if they're with a great brokerage like Keller Williams.
Keller Williams.
So, but the first thing we want to talk about is Tracy's 7 deadly selling sins.
Yeah. So just, I really think there's some basics out there and some things that people all the time completely miss. And because
Kind of
of
miss or
that,
completely miss?
no, completely not.
Completely miss.
I mean, yeah, they completely miss all the time. It's not everybody, but it happens frequently enough that it shouldn't happen as often as it does, but it happens frequently enough that I've compiled a list.
So why does it happen? Let's talk about that first.
I would say number 1, it happens because they are just unaware
Yeah.
of
they're
their
like-
environment.
right. And so I would like to think about that as they're just not in the business.
Well, it's not even just that. I mean, yes, it is that. But it's that you are comfortable in your space.
Right.
You live in your home, you don't see those things. The
So when somebody comes in with
the
fresh
little bit of
eyes,
paint that wasn't ever completed
right.
over the years
A
that
little
we've just
smudge.
begun to live with, and
Right.
you've just let that be. It's little things like that I
It
think
becomes
are
invisible to you.
yeah, and
say.
especially but when you choose to sell your house, those things
Are
like
not invisible,
are
right? Yeah.
glaring to potential buyers.
And so people want to come in and they want to kind of see themselves in that space. So those
Right.
distractions, design
Can be
elements
big.
and both like smudges or whatever. Yeah, those are huge. They draw their attention away from their vision they're trying to create, right?
Right. And it's not just design. So let's talk about those.
Right.
So the first one that I have on my list is an unkept yard. And that actually is the first thing that I kind of started to talk about yesterday. But again, it's just a distraction. Initial pull up to the front of the house and
Setting that expectation even before you walk in the front door.
right.
Are you going to do that with a well manicured lawn, nice flower bed, everything outside looks very nice and neat, or toys in the yard, lawn's not mowed, etc. and so forth, right?
In fact, we hosted an open house. It was a
3 weeks
month
ago?
ago, I guess, or
Something like
something.
that.
Anyway, we hosted this open house. Very sweet family, very cute family, but they were basically out the door, and their yard was
Yeah, they didn't have time to mow the lawn, but,
unmowed. It
again, this happens all the
it
time,
does happen all the time.
and what usually happens, with these folks, they had 5 kids, they had to get out the door, and when you're selling your house, you're always so flustered, right? And so just didn't mow the front yard. So we work with a great guy named Win
Win. Hi,
Thorson,
Win.
who, by the way, is there a better name ever than Win Thorson? Come on. But Win said, "I'll mow the lawn," and so we ran out there and grabbed the mower and mowed the lawn, and it looked great.
Yeah, it was wonderful. But again, okay, so that's our first one.
Mhm.
The second one that I have on my list is a faded, dingy front door. So that's something that can be, painted within a few hours, really. But just to pop that color. So a faded, dingy door just
And it doesn't have to be paint. It can be
could
like
be
it can
washed.
be a restain,
Yeah. Oh,
it can
definitely.
be a wash, it just has to look right. It doesn't have to be we talked kind of the classic cliche red door, right?
Right, right,
It doesn't have to be a color, it can be whatever you think fits, but it just should be clean, crisp, ready to go.
right. And you can also, as we've said before, add potted plants, flowered plants, just a really nice bright wreath, maybe that pops that door. There are simple things that you can do other than paint. So that's number two, the
Okay,
faded dingy
number
door.
2.
Number three of
Number
our
3.
seven
I like
deadly
to repeat them for some gravitas.
selling
Number 3.
sins is what's number three? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Sorry. Animals. Animals are Animals should be somewhat gone when it comes to selling your
It's a
house.
delicate subject, isn't it?
It really
Because
is.
people love their animals, and they should love if you don't love your animal, then, we have to have another conversation. But, I mean, the point is not everybody loves your animals.
Right. Right, and it really can be, deterrent. Not only just the animal itself, but what comes with animals are the smells.
And when you're in your house, like Tracy said, you get accustomed to those smells.
Right.
So if somebody walks in for the first time, it's a very different experience, an olfactory experience, than for you to walk in for the 1000th time.
So one thing I was on, a home tour with a client, and we walked into this house, and it was a cute little house, kinda compact kinda thing, but we walked into the house, walked around, and it was there's a number of little things that were just kind of hurting my heart, but when I got to the one back
It
room
really does hurt her heart too.
it
That's
does.
not it. That's not just an expression. Like she walks in, she feels pain.
When we got into one of the back rooms, there was the litter box just right there
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
center, and
Yeah.
it was dirty, and it was just
And again, it's one of those
everywhere,
things.
and
Now, when we say these things, understand that there's a lot of people in the same boat. They just don't know, or they don't have time, or they're flustered. So,
and you
so these are sins that people commit, but you know,
there are things that can easily be
yeah, we just want
corrected.
to tell you about them,
Right.
right?
So, you want to at least clean that up, hide it a bit, maybe not dead center in the room.
Keep
Right.
litter boxes.
Right. So anyway, so that's number 3. Number 4 is poor furniture arrangement. That just you should be able to walk into a space and feel like you can move into that space. A lot of times people have things just placed that just block your whole flow.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a
Poor
tougher
furniture
one to handle
arrangement.
yourself because you've lived in
It
that
is.
house for a long time and you've arranged the furniture. I'm assuming in most cases so that it's comfortable to live in.
Yeah, to meet your needs,
Yeah.
right?
But when somebody's walking in to walk through, there's a certain feng shui you want them to be able to have, a certain flow through the house. And furniture blocking that flow blocks that feng shui.
And even if a number of times that people them when they list their houses, like they have really funky furniture, they have really cool stuff that they really like and stuff. And a lot of times what happens is your furniture becomes the distraction
Right. It was
that
too
you
cool.
that you don't see the space, you see the
You
furniture.
see the big red leather lounger.
Yeah. So anyway, furniture should be a side note. They should enhance. They should not block, and they should be allowed to open up to move into the space. You should have like 36 inches is what they the they,
The people,
the people, what they say. You should have
the real
36
estate people.
inches in between each furniture item that you can move through freely. So,
Yeah. And that might be something you want to talk with your realtor about, even bring it up with your realtor, because you might not have the ability to reconceptualize your space in a different way to make it most conducive to walking
yeah, and if you can't move in between with 36 inches in between things, you need to remove something.
or stop staggering.
No,
I'm just
you need to remove an item of furniture. Okay, number 6 is lighting. A lot of times, homes have all different types of bulbs for all different places. They've got a white, bright light in the kitchen. They've got yellow light in the bedroom. They've got, I mean, just a variety, funky little lights and stuff. You want a universal theme of light.
So
So
all
choose whichever
soft
one.
light or all bright white light or whatever.
Right.
But what light do you recommend?
I would say a soft white.
So with the kind of that yellow tone almost, right?
Yeah,
Just
slight
a
yellow
little
tone.
bit, as opposed to the cold tone.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly that. White, the fluorescent. Stay away from all
They'll
fluorescents
just suck
if at
your soul
all
out of your body.
possible.
That's the problem with fluorescents. They actually are there to suck the soul out of your body.
Number 6 is oh, I'm sorry, that was number 5. I apologize.
Or
Number 5. Number 6 is cluttered counters. So they just need to be cleaned up. It just needs to be clean of debris. Just put everything away. Cluttered
So what's the
counters.
ultimate of cluttered counters? Because when you walk in, when you want to stage a home, right? That's different from just uncluttering the counter. It's leaving maybe 3 things on the counter, right? Which
If
is
that.
different from most homes when they
Right.
live there, right?
Right.
Because you got the bread box, you got the toaster, you've got the
He's
Instapot,
naming our
you've got
kitchen.
the convection oven,
Stop,
you've
stop, stop. Yes, yes. So put all those things away. I would
the
leave
juicer.
put the juicer away. Put everything away. You know, a clean, clear counter is better if you can't decide. Just have it empty.
And then is that it? No, there's number
Oh, no, no,
7.
no. Number 7
Number wait,
with
wait,
that.
wait. Number 7.
Number 7 with that is cluttered closets. So that's what we got.
What about cluttered closets? What do you do with cluttered closets?
You put away your winter clothing. You know, pack it up, put it in storage.
Or a lot of your clothing?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
We
Can I say a couple things
yeah,
on the
sure.
closet? Because I notice closets a lot when you walk into
He's
a
a big
house.
closet
I'm
guy.
a huge closet guy. So people think of, I mean, there's 2 sides to the closet. One is I just jam everything in my closet. That's where my stuff goes. And that's not good. There's also the other side of the closet is, these people are somewhat proud of all the stuff they have in their closet, right? And so there's these really interesting, cool things. And I think it slips by them that it's just too much stuff,
Yeah.
right? It's cool stuff,
Yeah.
but it's just too much stuff.
You don't want people to be going through your closet because they see all the really cool stuff that you have.
What you really want is for people to actually see the closets,
Right.
which is hard if it's full of your stuff.
Right. Okay. So let's just recap because I think I definitely went off of my
Okay, so
counting.
okay.
So
Number 1.
number 1 is an unkept yard.
Number 2.
Number 2 is a dingy, faded door front.
Number 3.
Number 3 is animals and the smell that they bring.
Number 4.
Is poor furniture arrangement.
Number 5.
Number 5 is lighting.
Number 6.
Number 6 is cluttered counter.
And big number 7.
The cluttered closet.
Got it. So those are Tracy's 7
7
deadly selling staging
sins.
sins.
There you go.
Nice. Excellent. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about one of the local businesses that we found. It's called the Watchtower. And the Watchtower is down in about 16th and Main Street. So 16th South in Salt Lake City,
Right.
Main Street.
It used to be off of State Street. It used to be a lot bigger, and
Where was it in case somebody saw it before?
it was
More
it was
downtown, right?
no, it was close to where it is now, actually. yeah, just in a bigger space, and it was very cool, but I think it was just too much, and especially right at the pandemic
But you
time.
gotta go here now because it's so neat. It's
It
not just
is.
comics and coffee, they also have albums, and it's
Vinyls.
we talked to them. I mean, whoever curated, quite frankly, the
The couple,
album,
it's a couple, they're
and we're
so
like, "We
cool.
wanna buy all the albums." Right? They were just it was amazing,
Oh, yeah,
the
everything
selection
about
they
it.
had. But you walk in there, it's really bright, there's comics, there's books, there's clothing,
Clean feel, it's
but
just
it's just enough to, like, sit down and have a cup of coffee, and
right,
if you see something, if you like that vibe, if you like, the pop culture stuff, then and the people are really nice. We actually talked to her and hope to have her on a podcast in the future.
right. So Watchtower Coffee and Comics.
And the best thing about them,
They're local. Local
the
business.
second best thing about them, they're open on Sunday.
Oh, right. That too. They're open actually Monday through Sunday, and I think
They're
it's
actually
like
closed on Tuesday,
oh, that are they really?
which is weird. Yeah.
Huh,
Weird,
interesting.
interesting.
Okay.
There you go.
Anyway,
So
that's
that's
our
that.
local.
That's our local business. And finally, we want to talk about friends in high places.
Friends in high
This has
places.
been, I'll maybe again, this is kind of where I brag about Tracy sometimes, but this has been a huge, huge thing for us to realize that there's so much backstage, so much going on behind the curtain for real estate agents that are connected that you just don't know about.
I have to say, so when I initially started in real estate, I remember you were kind of like I was just kind of going on about how wonderful Keller Williams was and how and the people there and all this sort of stuff and that they were so helpful and I was learning so much and they have all these classes and all this stuff and they're just their big support team and you're just like, yeah, right. No way.
I'm a
They're
little,
like
I'm a little skeptical.
they're
I'm a
agents.
little
Come on, they're all
skeptical.
out for themselves. Jim has learned.
I've been converted. I believe. And yeah, it's just been interesting to watch. I'm an experiential person. So I frankly come from more of a cynical place. Let's see what happens, right? And Tracy's not. And so we actually balance each other out really well that way. But in watching how the real estate brokerage, Keller Williams in Salt Lake City, comes together and helps each other, it really is like a family.
Right. Definitely, definitely like a family. And then we joined even tighter family when we joined with Shanna Day
Hmm.
and the Shanna Day team. So it's just been wonderful just how much everybody is willing to help. Um, if it's if you have a question in the pricing of the house that you're about to
How
list,
to do a contract,
if
how to
there's
frame
just
things in certain
well, it's not just
markets.
how to do a contract because you know how to do the contract. It's just but it's those little
Yeah,
tweaking,
but
those little
but
things,
do
how to
you but
win.
do you have to win?
Well, how to win.
Anybody can do a contract, but how do you
Right.
do a contract to win,
Yeah.
especially in the market that was leading up till now is
Well, you're still winning. You still have to win. But yes, right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing that needs to be kind of said here, if you're watching our podcast and you're not a real estate agent, is you just don't know how much your agent really does. And so not just does your agent probably sit either on the phone or with their broker or with other agents or just searching for stuff for hours at a time. But it's also these other people who are out there helping them. Tracy was on the phone with her broker for like, oh, what did he say? It was super funny. Said, this week, Tracy, I've talked to you more than I've talked to my wife.
Those are fun times.
And it's just that level of support. But as a client, you just don't see that. You don't necessarily want to. So we're just telling you that your agent is probably working much harder than you think they are.
Right. For
They're doing a
sure.
lot of things they don't tell you about.
Right, Jim. We want it to run smoothly. We don't want you to be stressed. That's our whole job. Our whole job is to serve you.
That's right. That's right. So that's our show. Anything you want to add? Any final thoughts?
Well, let's see. It's a great time. Well, actually what did they say the best time to buy was
15
15
years
years
ago. The
ago?
next best time is right now.
Is right now.
So
Yeah.
that's real estate. So thanks, everybody. We will see you next week.
What are we going to talk about next week?
Next week, we're going to talk about lots of really interesting things. That's right. Lots of
We've
interesting
got
things.
some secret things coming your
No, they're
way.
not secret. We don't know. But we do actually want to start having guests on the show. So if you are interested in being on our podcast, please let us know. You can go to our website.
You can Google us. No,
You
I'm
can go
just
to our
kidding.
website. I think it's called the
Nelsons?
Nelsons. That's what it is. Called the
Dot com.
Nelsons.com. Or we also have our stuff on the podcast. But let us know. We'd love to have you on the show. And we want to be able to really celebrate what you do and learn from you. We really, we're students of the industry and students of Utah. So please give us a ring. Until then, make sure you like us or support us or review us or give us 5 stars or whatever, wherever you see us.
Or thumbs up if you see us across the street.
And then walk away and don't talk to us at all. Just a thumbs up, go, because we're so famous now. No, really, honestly, approach us anytime. We'd love to help you or just have a conversation.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.